Methodist nurse who spearheaded a legal fight against mandatory COVID vaccines. Today was the deadline for holdout employees to get the vaccine or lose their jobs.
But employees who refuse to get the shot are also refusing to give up their fight. Marcelina Benito shows us what happened tonight and what happens next. Marcelina.
Yo, you already know what it is. Life First, coming at you with another one. So, we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about that V thing. You already know what that V thing is. So, now you got to simply say to yourself this, right? This is where we find ourselves, to the point to where your employer could tell you if they think you should either get something or not. Your employer has all rights to tell you that based upon your continuing employment with them. All right, so let's get into it.
Marcelino.
Guys, tonight many of these Houston Methodist employees gathered together for the first time. Their 2-week unpaid suspension is now underway. When it's over, they'll be fired, all for choosing not to get vaccinated. After weeks of taking a stand against Houston Methodist Hospital's COVID-19 vaccine mandate, Jennifer Bridges, the nurse at the center of a now federal lawsuit, walked out of Methodist Hospital Baytown for the last time.
I cried the whole way out.
Waiting for her was a crowd of supporters and dozens of nurses who are losing their jobs too for declining to roll up their sleeves for the vaccine.
So, all right, cool. So now you're starting to gain even a little bit more of a perspective on the things that we're going to be covering today. Now, why is that important? Again, your employer. Now, again, we talk about this, people, and if you need to get familiar, I'm going to need you to stop and go ahead and check out some of the earlier content where we break it all down for you, making it to where you understand this manipulation. You understand exactly what this manifestation is, right? So there's no games over here. All that game and all of that, oh, really? What? That's what's going on? We don't got time for that. These things need to come to a stop immediately. Because why? Again, if you want to be the individual who is just being selfish, right? Then cool, you be selfish. But for the individuals who have kids, shame on you. Straight up, shame on you. Now, I say shame on you because of this reason. It's simple. Either if you're for or against, who is someone else to tell you if you could either be for or against? Now, simply think about that. If you are for or against, who is anyone to tell you that you can either be for or against? Now, it's simple. Individuals, come with just you being able, just if you really want to understand it from a different perspective, right? Minus your bias, right? All I'm saying to you is just analyze what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you, just analyze it. How would you feel, right? Despite if you're for or against something, if someone literally told you, hey, you can't make that decision one way or the other. That's all I'm saying, right? That same level of privilege that that individuals demand is the same level of privilege that other people demand too, is all I'm saying, right? So now again, if you think that it's cool after you invest X amount of time with your employer, and then because of something, again, in my opinion, right, where someone is now suggesting that this thing, right, is something to where now you could say to me that I have to acknowledge it. And by so, if I don't follow through with doing X, Y, Z, then my tenure here is over. Just think about that. Wait, what? So now you're telling me that you have the ability to tell me how to think. Literally, you're telling me that you have the ability to tell me how to think. Damn, where's that compensation coming in at? You telling me what you want me to think? Damn, all right, could you cut me off? Could you break me off? I mean, come on, what? No, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that, right? And considering this right here is just what you will, someone could call a pre-conversation to the actual conversation, how it aligns to me specifically. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to set it up. We're going to set the platform up for the conversation, right? As far as this is how I'm going to introduce it to you guys, right? Again, it's simple. You could be for it or against it. All I'm saying is that who gives anyone the right to say that this is something that you have to do one way or the other? Because all I'm saying is, what if the shoes was on the other foot, and if it was now to where individuals is telling you, oh yeah, you can't get it? How would you feel? Literally, how would you feel? Wouldn't you want it to where at least someone was fighting for your rights in that regards? Which I am. I'm advocating for everyone. I'm both sides of the coin. It shouldn't be for where someone's going to tell you got to do. No, if you're saying that this is going to be for the better good of the human species in that regards, right? In terms of doing something that will help, then why would you have all this emphasis around it? It's simple, people. And again, if you're for it, I'm not knocking you for it, right? You do you. If you ultimately understand everything involved specific to it, then you do you. I'm not even knocking you. More power to you in that regards. But what I'm saying is that just imagine how if the narrative was that, listen, you can't get it. Right? So this is right. Literally, nah, you can't get it. I know you really want it, but nope, I don't give a shit. You can't get it. You'll be ripped, shit, pissed, right? So all I'm saying is that have that same level of energy specific to how that may feel for somebody else who's saying like, yo, for whatever reason, I'm deciding that I don't want to do this, right? Why is that so hard? Why is that so hard? Right? So needless to say, so again, something for you guys to think about. But again, you know how we do here. We always got to keep things in its rightful perspective. And again, so first, you already know they normalize it by doing exactly this, having these conversations, right? To where they put it out there. And now I would say, right, specific to the messaging, right, you really didn't hear biases, right, specific to pushing that narrative one way or the other, right? So I will say, for the most part, they reported this fairly neutral in that sense. But needless to say, it's something to pay attention to, like everything else, right? As far as the narrative in that sense. But yeah, you already know how we do here, life first. So this is going to be a conversation again that we will have more in depth, specific to how it correlates to myself. But until the next one, you already know, we out.
See,
I kind of felt betrayed a little bit.
many of these men and women spent the last year and a half treating COVID-19 patients.
I work in the ER, so it was crazy during the whole COVID pandemic, and it's like we were short-staffed, over capacity with patients. Like, it was just a lot, and then it's like for them to kind of do this to us, kind of like a slap in the face, or that's how I felt.
Today was the deadline to get vaccinated, and Houston Methodist CEO Dr. Mark Boom says 99% of employees are immunized. He added, "It's unfortunate that today's milestone of Houston Methodist becoming the safest hospital system in the country is being overshadowed by a few disgruntled employees."
It just seems cruel.
Nurses now facing unemployment say they didn't deserve to be treated this way.
They need to give people choices. They can't force things upon people that they're not comfortable with.
And tonight they tell us there are no regrets, and their fight is just beginning.
If I have to eat ramen noodles for a month or two, I'm okay with that. Because the rest of my life and my health and my family is more important than money or this job.
Bridges tells us dozens more nurses are expected to join her lawsuit in the coming days. Lawyers are expected to file their briefings with a federal judge later this week. Breaker, back to you.
And Jennifer Bridges says she's going to take this all the way to the Supreme Court if she has to. Of course, we're going to stay on top of this. Thank you, Marcelino.